This show is brought to you in part by viewers like you who joined a Patreon or become YouTube members. Thank you. And if you could, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content.
All right, let's look at the hot takes for this week in the comment section. The first hot take I saw was a comment from Go Bucks and Go Browns. The Browns swung hard on DW for trade and missed badly. It is what it is at the end of the day. I get his frustration and reflection on where his career is going. At the same time, the team has tried, and this is what every single competitor wants if they want to be champs at the end. I just hope that everybody can calm down once the Super Bowl ends and see what moves are made during the offseason and decide what's best for them afterwards. Hope that we can keep Myles and the Browns and put themselves in contention again ASAP, but have to be smart and not do something irrational just out of temporary emotions. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. I don't even know if this is a hot take. This is just a good take from Go Bucks, Go Browns. Everybody is at a very high level of emotion after the season the Browns had, right? Myles feels a type of way about it. Andrew Berry feel a type of way about it. Everybody feels some type of way right now. It's important to remember that, these emotions are temporary at the end of the day, right? Like, I don't think Myles is going to feel as angry at the situation as he might be right now. And it's important that the Browns move in a way with this Myles Garrett thing to where they operate with some level of delicacy so they don't completely fracture the relationship with them if there is a chance to mend those fences, right? And I do think that's a understated part of this whole conversation with Myles Garrett. A lot of conversation, at least on this channel, has been about talking about this from the perspective, like, what's Myles doing? Why is he doing this? What's the impact going to be? And how can Myles go too far? And this backfires on him. The Browns can also, they also have a delicate balance to play when it comes to playing hardball with Myles Garrett here, right? Like, they're still trying to maintain some semblance of a relationship, similar to what they did with David Njoku, where they told him they were denying the request. They weren't going to fulfill it. And eventually, a month later, they were able to figure things out, come to a more amicable place. Now, David's holdout was about playing time, right? It wasn't about his feelings of the team overall, which is a bit more tricky, right? If this was about money, if this was about playing time, I think it would be a lot more simple and something I would be much less concerned about. But this seems to be on more principled turf that's going to be a lot harder to convince somebody where Myles is at, right? He wants to win a Super Bowl, and he doesn't feel like the Browns are close to that, or that they're going to do things this offseason. They're going to take them away from being close to that. Now, I don't know what he knows, right? He might know a lot. He might just be using his own intuition. Who knows what's going on there? But yeah, if the Browns want to mend this relationship, it's going to require Andrew Berry to be good at his job, right? And this is, again, why I say this offseason will be the test. If you want to fire Andrew Berry, if you want to keep Andrew Berry, I think waiting until the end of this offseason and seeing what state the team is in to start the regular season and how that goes is going to be the ultimate test of if Andrew Berry should stay or not, because he's going to be tested in every single way a general manager can be tested, right? Player retention, keeping unhappy players happy here and managing the conflicts that arise because of that. You're going to have to draft well. You're going to have to use free agency with not a ton of resources, but still enough to make something happen, right? If Andrew Berry, after 4 years of having this job, is a real deal, decent to good NFL GM, this is a offseason he should be able to navigate without the roster and the team being at a point in September where we feel like it's an outright disaster. So, yeah, if you ever wanted to know when Andrew Berry's test time going to be, it's going to be these next 3 months. We're going to find out a lot about him as a general manager. Either we're going to confirm things or learn new things about him. But, yeah, I think this is an important time for him. And, a big prove it or lose it period for him. The Browns don't need to come out the gate with hardball, neither does Myles Garrett. So we'll see where this whole thing goes. But Myles and the Browns have both showed that they are going to make long-term based decisions, thoughtful decisions. So hopefully they come together to agree here, because right now they're a mile apart on what they want and what they're demanding. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think both sides are going to have to make some compromises here. Film Colossus says Arch Manning is going to be better than Mahomes. His mechanics are the best I've ever seen from a college quarterback. Now, we said that last take wasn't that hot, but Film Colossus decided, okay, I'm going to turn this shit up. We gonna turn this thing up. We gonna come in here with the hot take. He said Arch Manning will be better than Patrick Mahomes. By the way, I'm just gonna put this out here, man. We've seen Arch Manning throw the ball maybe 60 times in college football. I do understand why it is that people are excited about Arch Manning. He was the number one quarterback in his recruiting class, or at least close to number one. I think him and Nico were in the same class. I'm not sure. He was a 5-star prospect coming out of high school. His tape in high school looks crazy. He's a good athlete. And most importantly, he got that Manning brand behind him, right? Like, that's a Manning, right? And if you look at quarterbacks like we look at car brands, the Manning brand is the Maserati, or whatever you want to call the gold standard of quarterback brands, right? Like, every single one of them dudes that's come out, or one of them kids that come out, have won a Super Bowl. So the Manning brand is hot. It is red hot. So hot that my man here is willing to say, off of very little evidence, that Arch Manning is going to be better than Pat Mahomes, which I think is insane. Like, let's let the kid play. Like, one season. Just give me one season, right? Like, let's give me one season, Arch, before we start making these claims. I'm not even saying that this is out the realm of possibility, because this is a ridiculous statement. But let's just give it one season, man, before we go this far with Arch Manning. Because what I would not want to happen to Arch, which the internet tends to do, which is the internet will hype up somebody, whether it be ironically or seriously, right? They'll hype up somebody, and they'll keep hyping them up, and then they'll keep gassing this guy up, put the battery pack in this guy, and then Arch Manning throws 4 interceptions one day, and that same energy that built him up comes down to tear him down. This is a lot of energy for a dude we've seen play like barely any football so far in his college career. And even the football he did play wasn't flawless. Like, it wasn't like it was like the most amazing thing we've ever seen. So I would just say, for Arch Manning's sake, right, let's just tone it down a little bit. Let's just slow down. Drop 70 into 70. Why are we speeding right now? Ain't no need to speed. Also, I don't see any need to even attempt to overhype Arch Manning. He's not a prospect who's going to fly under the radar if he plays good. Like, if Arch Manning is good this year, the hype will be so natural because he's a Manning, right? Like, there's no need to be early on this. Everybody will pay attention if he shows any sign. Like, I say this all the time. If he can walk and chew bubblegum next season at Texas, he could be the number 1 overall pick just off of the last name that he has and the pedigree that he's bringing in, being a 5-star recruit with that last name. Like, that's just how it is with him. So there's really no reason to be early. There's definitely no reason to be this early on Arch Manning, because this is not going to be somebody whose success, if it does happen, is going to catch anybody by surprise. Everybody is checking for Arch Manning. Like, that's just going to be what it is. That's what it's been since he has come out of high school. But yeah, man, that was a crazy hot take. Damn. All right, JDA Champ with the next hot take. Let me see how many more we got. We got 2 more hot takes. Yes, so JDA with the 3rd hot take of the day. 2025 redemption Browns. I know I've been seeing so much negativity, of course, lately. I don't know why, but I'm actually optimistic we'll put together a competitive roster this year. Super Bowl contention is definitely stretched, but a winning season is possible in my eyes. Yeah, I think this is the natural rebound, right? Because we ended the season down here. And ultimately in the NFL, you're never as good as you think you are. You're never as bad as you think you are. The Browns are definitely not as bad as people think they are right now. Now, are they as good as we thought they were coming into the season? Hell no. But they're not as bad as we think they are right now. So the idea of this team that won 11 games 2 years ago, putting together a winning season, it's not ridiculous. It's not a ridiculous, especially with the fourth place schedule. It's not ridiculous at all. So, yeah, I agree with you. You know, I think there's a chance that the Browns could pull together a slightly surprising positive season here, even if they do have to do something crazy like trade Myles. Now, you trade Myles, all bets are off, but now you trade Myles Garrett, all bets are off. But yeah, you know, I think there's a chance here that they could be much better. And it follows the natural course of things. And also, I would say the reason why the season has ended and you're more optimistic than where you started is because the cloud of Deshaun Watson is not weighing over your head anymore. You don't think that he's going to play quarterback for the team anymore. And that just is a cloud lifted because, you know, that was not fun for anybody. Akeem says, I would prefer Rodgers or Geno Smith in trading for a developmental quarterback like Malik Willis or Joe Milton. They both showed some promise and growth when they got to start. It wouldn't cost that much draft capital either. I think Cousins' arm is shot too. He was throwing ducks at the end of the season. His arm looked good. If his arm looked good, I wouldn't mind him though. Rodgers still has a strong arm. He was inconsistent last year, but still has the bright spots. He was also very spiteful and tends to come back hard when people doubt him. Hey, man, I'm good on betting on that. Like, if Aaron Rodgers wants to have a comeback spite season, I'm good on that. Like, the whole package of Aaron Rodgers just seems very unappetizing for a team and a fan base, quite frankly, that is tired of controversy and drama. Like, that's part of the reason why a lot of the fans, like, outside of their personal opinion on what Shador is as a quarterback, don't want to draft Shador because they're just afraid of the potential of that. I think a lot of people we're tired, dog. We dealt with Deshaun for 4 years. We're not trying to sign another guaranteed problem in Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be on TV shows, who's going to, you know, if he does something that's happened, he's going to be talking about it. Like, I'm just good on that, me personally. I understand that Rodgers could play some good football for you, but I'd rather take a chance on Kirk Cousins than take a chance on Aaron Rodgers at this point. And it's not because I think Kirk Cousins is a better physical player than Aaron Rodgers. It's because I know that Kirk Cousins is not going to be controversial, or at least he has much less potential to be controversial, right? He might do something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm good, man. Like, ain't we tired, dog? Like, you really want to do Aaron Rodgers? I'm good on that. I just don't feel like that's where I want to be at. But hey, maybe you're an Aaron Rodgers fan. You love the ideal of him getting revenge on everybody in Cleveland. I'm so good off that. All right, y'all, we got one more hot take I want to squeeze in here. I just realized I forgot it after editing this video. This is from Darren, who says, is a full offseason as a starter out the question for Winston? Let him be the bridge for whoever we draft. Think Winston could give Browns Geno Smith like play or even better? Yeah, here's the thing with Jameis, right? And I don't blame anybody for having this thought. This is a thought that I had early during the season last year of like, hey, could Jameis be Geno Smith? I think ultimately the one thing that Jameis has that Geno didn't, and that will prove to be the difference between the two, is that Jameis played so many more games by this point in his career than Geno Smith. And what that tells me is that Geno Smith just didn't get enough opportunities, right? He played his first 2 seasons in New York, and then got spot opportunities after that in New York with the Giants, with the Jets, and then really didn't play for the Chargers, and then finally got an opportunity with the Seattle Seahawks after being on the bench for a couple of years. He didn't get opportunities. The problem with Jameis is that in comparing him to somebody like Geno is that Jameis has had opportunities, so many opportunities. He's been a starter for a long time. He's had, long stints as a starter. And usually these opportunities end because Jameis Winston continues to fall victim to the same habits that Jameis Winston has always fallen victim under. There's always going to be the allure of hoping that Jameis Winston can change how Jameis plays, but how Jameis plays when it's going good and when it's going bad, it's all predicated on the same thing, right? Which is his confidence. And that's something that's going to get you in trouble and something that's going to get you out of trouble at times. He's just going to be erratic. So no, I don't think the prospect of Jameis Winston starting for a whole season is similar to Geno Smith at all. I think he is somebody who will throw for a bunch of yards, will throw for a bunch of touchdowns, will also throw for a bunch of interceptions. And if you're the Cleveland Browns, that's probably not something that you want. And look, I said this halfway through the Jameis experiment in Cleveland. This was all good and fun, right? Jameis having these fun moments, 500 yards, 2 pick sixes. This was all fun and good when the team, their season's already over. But if he started doing this in September, we're going to be a different level of furious about it. So, yeah, I would just want to avoid all of that if I were the Cleveland Browns, and go after somebody who you feel like can take care of the ball a little bit more, even if that means you'll be less explosive as a passing offense. That's just my opinion on it. I can see the appeal for Jameis, and I think in a certain type of offense, he does have an appeal, right? I think Ken Dorsey's offense was a good fit for him. But in Kevin's offense, where he's going to have to be a lot more strict about his decision-making, and he just doesn't have a history of being too discretionary about his decision-making, I think that can end up as a mess, because this team's going to rely on a lot of long possessions. And could you imagine a long possession ending because of a turnover in the red zone like we saw last year in September, in October, when you still have a chance to achieve all of your offseason goals? That's where I sour on the idea of Jameis Winston as a full-time starter for this team, especially given what he showed us last year. But y'all let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What did you think of the hot takes for this video? Let me know in the comment section. Y'all have a great day. Drop your own hot takes if you want to. Have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.